To English 11 Honors. This video is going to be a short video that helps explain some of the finer points of the summer assignment. Please realize that watching this video is not a substitute for thoroughly reading the packet that we gave you when you came to your meeting, so make sure you go through it thoroughly. You can watch this as a supplement, and then if you have any questions, you can ask questions on the Schoology group. For your summer assignment, you're going to be doing 2 projects, both of which will be due on the first full day of school. So if you have a fall class, just bring it to class with you on the first day. If you have a spring class, you're going to have to make some time on the first day to stop by your teacher's room and drop it off. All of this information that I'm going to go over today is going to be in the Schoology group. So to join the group, you're going to use this code here. So the way that you do that is you go to Schoology, and then there's this group tab. You click join, and then you'll type in that code here. In the group, in the resource tab, you will find every document you need for your summer assignment. This first link up here is simply the packet that I'm going to be going over. This next book list here for your independent novel assignment, these are the books that you can choose from. You've also received a hard copy of this at the meeting. This is the book approval log, so when you choose your book from this list, you're going to go to this link here and then submit your list that way, or submit your choice that way. These are samples of completed copies of the summer work that you can use for your reference, and these are the templates that you can use to complete your editorial note takers, which I'll talk about in a second. So this is a Word document if you want to do it that way, and this is a Google Doc template if you would prefer to use that. One quick note, to access any of these Google Docs, you need to be signed into your school Google account. So if you sign in with your personal Google account, it's not going to work, and it's going to ask you to request access. Do not do that. We're not going to grant any access to your personal accounts. So just log into your school account and then access them that way, and you'll be able to access them fine. So the first assignment you're going to be doing is your independent novel, which you're going to read and do a book talk for. So again, you're choosing from the attached list that we provided for you at the meeting, or the digital version is in the resources section. A couple things to note. So it can't be a book that you've read in the past, so make sure you pick something new. And only 2 people can pick the same book. So it's going to be advantageous for you to do this soon, so your book choice doesn't get snagged up by somebody first. So once you choose a book, you're going to submit it to that Google form there, and then we will approve it. Once you pick a book, you're stuck with it. You cannot change your choice for any circumstance. So make sure that when you're doing your preliminary research, you might want to read about the book briefly or ask for some recommendations, because once you choose it, you cannot change it. So when you submit your book choice to the Google form, so the link again is in the resource section, Mrs. Jameson or myself will approve that. So check back periodically. Once it's been approved, you're free to go and start reading it. Make sure you don't start reading until we approve it, because if you submit it and somebody else has gotten to it first and you start reading it, then too bad. You're going to have to make another submission and then start reading a new book. As you're reading, you're going to be completing a note sheet. So there's a copy of this note sheet in the resource section that you can take a look at as a reference, but you're going to be making notes about the plot, the characters, themes, symbols, and then most importantly, some personal reactions. All right, so you're going to use these notes then to do a 5-minute book talk, which you'll schedule with your teacher when we start the course. So this is basically like a trailer. So it's relatively informal, but it'll give you an opportunity to stand up and talk about the book in various capacities, and your teacher will provide you a little bit more details about that when you start the class. But again, the notes for this must be handwritten. You cannot type your notes for this part of the assignment, so make sure you handwrite them. Otherwise, you will not receive full credit. The final reminder, you want to make sure you bring a copy of your book with you on the date of your book talk, and again, that will be scheduled with your teacher when the course begins. The next part of your summer assignment is going to be your editorial readings and responses. All right, so editorials are pieces that express opinion, so these will be delineated on the websites that you use or in the section of the newspaper. They'll usually say opinion or editorial or op-ed. So you have to pick 4 different editorials on 4 different topics, so make sure you do varying topics. If you're confused as to whether or not it is an editorial, just post a question and we will answer it to help you out. All editorials you must date, and they must be from 4 different weeks of the summer, right? So this hopefully will help you spread the work out throughout the summer, so you're not waiting till the last minute. If you do not do 4 editorials from 4 different weeks of the summer, you're going to lose points. If you find these on the internet, so if you go somewhere like the Express Times or the Morning Call or the New York Times or NPR, you want to print them out and hand them in when you bring them on the first day of school. If you're doing it from a physical newspaper, you can just cut them out and then bring those in with you. While you're reading these, you're going to be filling out something called an editorial note taker. So again, there's a template for this in the resource section, and you have to do this digitally. You cannot handwrite this one. All right, so this is going to be submitted to Turnitin.com, so it must be typed. We will give you information on how to submit it when you get here on the first day of school. All right, so don't worry about submissions. Turn it in over the summer, so you don't have to send us questions or anything. So just make sure you have it saved digitally. If you do not save it, we're going to make you retype it because you're not going to get credit for it unless it's submitted to Turnitin.com. So again, to find those templates, you go to the resources section of this group. If you click on the template, it'll ask you to make a copy into your Google Docs unless you do the Word version. But you'll notice there are 4 different copies of these questions that you're going to be answering about each editorial. So this says note taker number 1. There's obviously 2, 3, and 4 below this. So you'll have to fill in all this information here and then answer these questions thoroughly. The more detail you provide, the more likely you will get full credit on the assignment. So make sure you answer them thoroughly. You scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a sample editorial here, so you can look at that, and there's also a sample completed note taker. So notice how thoroughly these answers have been completed. So the safest way to complete them is to make sure you use a lot of direct quote evidence. So that's going to ensure that you're being very specific and detailed. So again, make sure you answer all 4 of these questions thoroughly, providing as much evidence as you can, and then you will probably be in good shape. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, all this information can be found in this Schoology group. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to go into the update section and you can post your questions right in here. If it's something more specific to you, feel free to send a message to myself, Mr. Sterner, or Mrs. Jameson, and we will be happy to help. Good luck.